they're representatives of their countries, so they're going through a system and the process, and they're coming back into the system. So it's Lukashenko's Belarus and Putin's Russia. I mean, how could you be different in this case?
Athletes from Russia and Belarus will compete in the Winter Paralympics after the International Paralympic Committee lifted its ban. The embargo from the International Olympic Committee remains because of Russia's invasion of Ukraine and Belarusian support for it, but it has been lifted for Paralympic sport. The UK Culture Secretary Lisa Nandy has called the decision completely wrong, and Ukraine is understandably furious. Well, Wladimir Klitschko is an Olympic gold medal winner in the super heavyweight boxing and a 3-time heavyweight champion in the professional boxing. His brother, of course, Vitaly, has been the mayor of Kyiv since 2014. And Vladimir joins us now. Good morning.
Good morning.
What is your reaction to this decision, which will allow Russian and Belarusian athletes to compete in the Paralympics?
I believe that so-called free world is showing another weakness. Absolutely. It's not acceptable. There must be consequences because those regimes, in this case Lukashenko's and Putin's regimes, are supporting each other. There are one ecosystem. Everything in this ecosystem is designed to destroy peaceful, democratic country. And it's people as well. Basically, what they're trying to do, they're just trying to erase Ukrainian nation, erase Ukraine as a country. And obviously, all those athletes by...
Oh, I feel like we might have lost the line there to Wladimir Klitschko. We'll try and get him back because... You know, this story is something that I think has divided, well, it's divided some people, but united many, many others. 6 Russian and 4 Belarusian athletes will compete under their own nation's flags at the Winter Paralympics. And it comes after both countries were originally suspended from Paralympic competition after Russia's latest invasion of Ukraine in 2022, with Belarus a close ally of Russia. The partial ban was introduced in 2023, which did allow athletes to compete as neutrals in sport. However, the 4 individual governing bodies in charge of the 6 sports which were contested at the Paralympics decided to keep their bans in place, and then an appeal was won against that decision. And now, obviously, we see the situation we have currently. I mean, there was already a controversy, Calum, about a Ukrainian athlete at the Winter Olympics who wanted to pay tribute to Ukrainian athletes who've been killed in the war with Russia. But I think this decision, again, it just complicates that picture further. I think, Vladimir, we have you back. Is that right? Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm back.
You were just telling us your reaction to this news that these Paralympians will be allowed to compete.
I think it's not acceptable. I think that sanctions must continue to be hard on Russia and Belarus. Athletes are part of it because they're part of propaganda. By the time they're going to come back home, they will definitely work into the hands of propaganda and both regimes of Belarusian and Russian. So I think it's a big mistake to let athletes compete, even under neutral flag. It's not going to help. It's just, as I said, will put more oil in the fire to actually try to completely delete from the map a country as Ukraine and Ukrainians as a nation. That's what their propaganda has been working on in the past years, since 2014, and that's what they're doing. So I think it's a gigantic mistake to let athletes compete.
Is there ever any way to separate the athletes from the politics of the host nation?
They're representatives of their countries, so they're going through a system and the process, and they're coming back into the system. So it's Lukashenko's Belarus and Putin's Russia. I mean, how could you be different in this case? So if you're different, you're basically not going to be part of representatives of those countries and compete. So I do believe that being from that country and coming back to that country, in this case Russia and Belarus, you have to play with the regime. There is no other way. If you're against it, you're not going to travel, you're not going to be competing, and you definitely part of this aggression and these imperialistic ambitions.
Would you like to see nations around the world boycott the Paralympics as a result of this decision?
I don't think boycotting is going to really help. That's just in my opinion. What is going to help actually, not to let those athletes. Let's concentrate on that. Not to let those athletes compete and be part of these games.
Do you feel that there is a bias against Ukraine here? Because, while there obviously has been an appeal, it is upheld differently in different sports, seemingly. Do you feel that this decision shows some prejudice against your country?
It definitely shows. It's not just about Ukraine. Please don't forget about the imperialistic ambitions. If we fail in Ukraine, we're going to be not the first and not the last country. So their propaganda, and what Vladimir Putin has said, that the greatest disaster that was in the past century, that's the collapse of Soviet Union. So he's ambitious to rebuild Soviet Union. And there are a lot of European countries that were part of it. And the appetite is coming while you're eating. So I do believe that Baltic countries are going to be next after Ukraine and more, because we do know where the Soviet Empire was. So I do believe it's not just about Ukraine. It's about a more global war.
And we've also seen, of course, one of your athletes at the Winter Olympics barred because he wanted to wear a helmet showing Ukrainian athletes who had been killed in Russian attacks. Was that decision acceptable?
I definitely support Vladislav with his decision to give silent respect to the Olympians, to the athletes that were killed by the Russians in this reckless and senseless war in Ukraine. And the decision of the IOC, in my opinion, is not acceptable. So you just, as a parallel, you just saw that one of the Italian team members, they had Russian flag on their helmet, big or small, it doesn't matter. The fact was right there. So, and there are images of it. And I do believe it was a mistake from the IOC to let Vladislav compete in his helm, to pay the tribute and respect to the athletes that were fallen from the Russian aggression.
Just finally, can you give us a sense of the morale in Ukraine right now? I mean, your brother is obviously has significant experience in Kyiv itself, but how is morale in the country?
Look, you just said the key word, morale. Morale, that's what defines us all. When it's going to become difficult, when it's going to become really, when you're facing death, morale is that's what you're going to face, and ask yourself where your morale is and what you're standing for. And we've been showing since full-scale war in 2022 where our morale is. Even though we were counted out in 3 days, we showed that we actually decided to resist and decided to fight. And we're entering the 5th year of this horrifying, unhuman war. And so the question about morale is, it's just the wrong question. I'm sorry. Our morale is in the right place. Let's talk about the endurance, and let's talk about action that is more actual. So endurance, because trust me, we are tired on the front lines and behind the front lines and in the country when you're getting attacked every single night. So all those attacks with drones and rockets happening every single night in Ukraine, and that's been for years.
And
it's if you have families, you have kids, you have life, you need to adjust to the environment. So we've been adjusting to this environment, and now the question actually to you guys also in Great Britain, because you're our ally. So we just worry more about you not to get tired or exhausted, and how durable and where's your endurance, by the way, to keep on supporting us? Because as I said, if Ukraine fails, we're not going to be the last country and not the first country that failed.
Wladimir Klitschko,
imperialistic ambitions.
Wladimir Klitschko, thank you so much for giving us your time this morning.
That's Wladimir Klitschko.